Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, I guess it is. Enter the stars. I was gonna wait to do this show until next week, but this is important information. I'm gonna lay out some evidence to you this afternoon so that you can see basically the money trail and who's profiting off of what is going on right now. And I found something very intriguing. I just decided to go into the Wikilks and take a look at what was going on. And up popped much of the verbiage and language that we're dealing with right now. For instance, social distancing. Now, you would think, I'd never heard that term before, social distancing. Typed it into Wikileaks. Social distancing is specifically mentioned. Bengal government encourages social distancing during a festive season. This was back in 2009. Pandemic influenza tripwires. Consider instituting social distancing policy for employees. Urge private Americans to practice social distancing. This was back in 2009. Here's 2008. Social distancing is defined. Talk about infection control, types of social distancing. One of these, I believe, even mentions children being not allowed to go to school. Children should, it says something like that here. I could click on all these, but that's really not why we're here. We're here to talk about a smart thermometer that John Podesta himself was pitched on by a person that worked at the Clinton Foundation. He was some kind of executive of the Clinton Foundation. He was probably told to contact John Podesta. John Podesta met with him or talked to this guy to develop this smart thermometer that actually can measure people's temperature. Now, I found a creepy video. There was an actual code word that was given. I typed that into Vimeo, and I found a creepy video of an unboxing of this smart thermometer. Look at this here. Children should remain. Social distancing. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show tonight. Social distancing. Infection control. Here's Australia. H1N1. Social distancing was no longer effective. Quarantine, surveillance, social distancing. Okay? This has been beaten into our heads since the beginning. I hadn't heard anything about it, but apparently they were talking about it in private amongst themselves. This was it seems all to be happening like 2009 is when they started talking about this social distancing. Here's one in 2006, South Korea. So let's get into what was happening with this Podesta email. Here's the email here. And this is from this, who is this from? This is to John Podesta. It was a pleasure speaking with you last Friday. Apologies for the delay in following up. Apparently, John was pretty interested in getting together with this guy. We would love to have you as an investor or an advisor in seed financing for Transform Health Inc. Now, this has since changed. The name of the company has changed to Kinza Health. Same company, same guy. Inder Singh is his name. He's the CEO, but he just changed the name. And basically, he's talking back then, this was back in 2012. He was talking about this company. We will be doing work with governments, okay, US, Norway, UK, Sweden, Denmark, and my sense is that your contacts and guidance in navigating them to get to the correct decision makers would be tremendously helpful. Please find a paragraph summary about the venture. So let's read about the venture. But before that, he says, please see a video for a video of an unwrapping of our very first prototype. The person opening the box is my partner and CTO, Ido Segal. He gives the link to the video, and the password is iFever. So I punched in the password, right? And lo and behold, the private video now becomes public. And let's watch it together. iFever, the reason why the password is iFever is because this is a smart thermometer. Here's the guy here, and in the background you see the checkerboard floor, and he's got the pawns of the chessboard as his furniture. You can't make this up. Now, I'm not going to play this for copyright reasons, of course, but this guy proceeds to unbox this smart thermometer that he wants all of you to basically install on your phone so that then your temperature can be monitored. So I thought to myself, is this happening now? This was back in 2012. Is this happening now? And lo and behold, this company is making millions of dollars selling thermometers to schools across the nation, companies, so that people can monitor their temperature. And I have a feeling that this will snowball into this whole thing that they want to do, monitoring our temperatures before we get on planes and so on and so forth. This company is going to make a killing. Now, as far as I can tell, I couldn't find anywhere where Podesta agreed to offer seed money and invest in this company, but just the very fact that this guy worked for the Clinton Foundation, and if we're following the money on this, and this was back in 2012, and here we are, and this company's making millions of dollars selling exactly what was going to be needed for what we're going through right now, that's a little weird, right? So let's close this. Let's go back here. Let's keep reading this email. This is very eye-opening. Transform Health is building the world's first real-time map of human health. We will accomplish this by providing people with free or extremely low-cost connected health products. Our flagship product is a smartphone connected analog of a medical device commonly found in households everywhere. It's like some kind of a chip inside this thermometer. We can make and sell it for less than the cost of a U.S. postage stamp. When used, it transmits data to our servers, generating a real-time map of human illness. Does this sound familiar? This was back in 2012. With such a map, individuals can take action to avoid getting sick, and society will finally all be locked in their house. No. Society will finally have the tool it needs to track and potentially stop the spread of disease. Our co-founders are previously successful entrepreneurs, and our CEO recently led a global healthcare program that helped to save millions of people's lives and lock them in their homes. So this is the founder, Inder Singh, Executive Vice President of the Clinton Health Access Initiative, built and managed team of 55 with an annual budget of $75 million, operations across 10 countries. So this guy was deeply embedded in the Clinton Foundation. Now he's no longer with the Clinton Health Access Initiative, I should say, not the Clinton Foundation. I don't know if the two are one and the same. I don't know that. But when you go through the Wikilks, you can see there's some back and forth between, and I'm not going to do that just for the sake of time, but you can see there's some back and forth between Inder Singh and John Podesta. And John talks to this guy and meets with him. Now, let's fast forward to 2020. The odds of this company coming out of nowhere from 2012 till now, looking for seed money, just reeks of a planned event. Sorry, but it just does. Let's blow this up. So, the man mapping CV with smart thermometers. Okay? It was a dream job, world-shaking stuff. Inder Singh would go back and forth with pharmaceutical giants on behalf of the Clinton Foundation to whittle down the price of their life-saving drugs, figuring out creative ways to deliver treatments for those conditions, malaria, TB, and that, to the developing world, sorry. Then about 8 years ago, he quit. My frustration, he says, was the fact that no matter what we did, you were not going to stop the next epidemic and pandemic unless you knew where it started and how fast it was growing. Reactions to outbreaks then were not unlike the global response to CV now, reacting a few steps behind the deadly fast-moving V-word. Singh's recent venture smart thermometer company, Kinza Health, see, they changed the name. The smart thermometer was from the company called, let's go back up here. Transform Health. Okay, now this website no longer works. So this was 2012, and then fast forward to 2020, 8 years later, and they changed the company to Kenza Health, and lo and behold, he's selling a bunch of these thermometers for the pandemic, right? And he's saying that he just launched this thermometer, and maybe he did, but nowhere in here does it say that he was talking about it since 2012, because that would be a little suspicious now, wouldn't it? They call it a recent venture in this 2020 article. It's designed to get ahead with the launch Wednesday of the health weather map, right? Drawing on data from the company's hundreds of thousands of internet-connected thermometers across the country, Kenza is telling anyone willing to listen exactly where flu-like illnesses are spiking at an anomalous rate. So here's the map, right? They're looking for clusters and all this. And then they go to these states and they go, we've got a outbreak of fevers. Let's lock it down. Now, I don't know about you guys, but how many of you live close to a cancer cluster? Do the Centers for Disease Control swoop in and quarantine everybody and interview people to find out why there's a cancer cluster in a particular area? No, they don't. They don't give a crap. They don't want to know how many people are in an area who have Lyme disease, for instance. When you go in to get tested, they discourage it. They don't want to know that brothers, mothers, fathers, sisters all have cancer in a certain area, well above the national average. Well, for some reason, they want, this is a big deal, this CV, and checking people's temperature. Now, I won't have my temperature checked. I won't do it. That's, hey, what is it called? My body, my choice? Should be your response when you're challenged. My body, my choice. Your body, your choice. And watch people's heads spin around like the movie The Exorcist, because they won't know what to say to come back to that. You got to keep it simple when it comes to this stuff. My body, my choice. Someone asks you to wear my body, my choice. Your body, your choice. You want to do it, you do it. I don't have to. So, there's more to this than meets the eye. There's a history here. Links to the John Podesta, links to Clinton. You always have to follow the money when it comes to this stuff. Now, is there definitely something nefarious happening here? I don't know. But I thought that this information would be helpful, because things like this, in my opinion, are not coincidences. You don't just magically have a company all set up, ready to roll when something like this happens, okay, that are just poised to make millions of dollars. Here's another article, March 23rd, 2020. Smart thermometer maker Kenza has been working on building accurate predictive models of how seasonal illnesses like the flu travel in and among communities. Its fever map is finding new utility as the novel CV grows globally, while Kenza's U.S. health weather map has no way of tracking the spread of CV, specifically as it looks only at fevers tied to geographic data. Now here's what's going to happen. You get checked for a fever, and they're just going to automatically put the tag on you. Okay? This is how we've lost our freedoms. It could provide easy to grasp early indicators of the positive effects of social distancing and isolation measures at the community level. Remember, they were talking all about social distancing in the Wikilks going back to 2009. At that time, Kenza's health weather map was covered in the New York Times in February. See, they were getting public attention. That's not an accident. The company had around 1 million thermometers in the market in the U.S., but it experienced a significant increase in order volume of as many as 10,000 units per day in the week prior to its publication. You guys, they're making millions, maybe even into the billions. That means the company's analytics are based on a very large data set relative to the total U.S. population. Kenza founder Ender Singh, he was in the WikiLeaks email, told me this allowed them to achieve an unprecedented level of accuracy and granularity in flu forecasts. In other words, loss of your privacy. Down to the community level. Now they're going to say, oh, well, we didn't give anyone's personal information away. But the very fact that your medical information, how you're feeling, that is a very private thing. You know how, like, it's basically very socially rude to talk about somebody else's medical condition if they haven't given you the permission to do so? It's just not nice. It's very rude and uncouth behavior to discuss someone else's medical condition, right? And so what this does is everybody knows that you have a fever. They might not know your name, but now your town becomes a target because everybody knows that your town has a fever, and the government knows. You don't think that they don't know the name of the person? Of course they're going to know, because they're going to want to find you if you do not comply with their orders to stay at home. So of course they're going to know. So again, loss of your private medical data. Many of you know I was a pharmaceutical rep in my previous life, and I quit that career to come do this because money isn't everything. It's about ethics. It's about what you believe in. And I can no longer ethically follow that career. Well, we went through a process of HIPAA, Health Patient Privacy Act. But there was nothing less private than less private than HIPAA, because basically the government has free access to all your electronic data, whereas it would be much harder for them to pull a paper chart and subpoena that information. And talk about raising alarm bells for a doctor who they would have to subpoena that information from. They just simply go into the electronic medical data. They can get whosever medical data they want. Now, they still, quote unquote, need a court order. But how many times are they going to do that? How often are they going to really do that to get your private medical data? I don't want the government knowing my state of health, because then they're going to make decisions that may not be in my best interest about my health. So this article just goes on to talk about all the money they made. And look at this map. They've got the map on here with the fevers. These fevers could be caused by anything. But of course, they're dovetailing it in with the CV, and this just gives them more ammunition to lock everything down. So I wanted to show you guys that. We'll be back on here tomorrow talking about other topics. Got a lot of bombshell shows coming up next week. I would like to do them all in one day, but you guys would just be blown away and it would just be too much information. But we'll take our time, break all this stuff down. And I appreciate everyone coming out to the show this evening. And all right, yeah, they go in the ear and like the mouth. I mean, think of this, like, and I'll link these articles. They're giving people these thermometers that can go in your ear. I mean, what if you puncture your eardrum, for instance? Think of the liability involved. But, you know, all these people are covered because they go by different rules than we do. You try to go start a company with a thermometer that goes in someone's ear. You know how much red tape you're going to have to go through? Good luck getting licensing for that. The rich go by different rules than we do. They get the green light to do whatever they want. And you and I go by other rules. So, this is what we're dealing with. Okay, let's look in the chat here. I mean, what if they write into the law that this kind of technology is going to be mandatory? You know, this is why we do these shows. Just give you the heads up, all right? All these people are connected. Do you think that the people that Trump calls his quote-unquote enemies are not making money off of this? Of course they are. Now, if any of you find a connection between this company and either the Podestas or Hillary Clinton, let me know. Because I'd like to know. All these people work together. They're all making money off of this. Always follow the money. Kinza is the name of the company. I mean, you could search Transform Health, but I think they're defunct now. He must have changed the name, probably to disassociate himself from the history of this, that they were already talking about this way back when, 2012. I mean, we had already had a few pandemics at that point, but, I mean, the foresight of this guy to anticipate something like this, it's just crazy. I mean, it's just spooky. It's really spooky. So, I didn't see anything other than that was nefarious in the way that he talked about it, in terms of like, yeah, hey, we got to get ready for this pandemic. So I didn't see anything like that in there. I just want to give this fair balance. But these people aren't dumb. They're going to talk in code. They know that all this stuff can be looked at and seen. iFever is the password. Unbelievable. So, what else do we have here? Look at 6/1, June 1st. Flip that around, it forms a 19, right? 2012. Everybody thought the world was going to end. So, investment opportunity. Now, you can go in here and search this and find the back and forth, but I just thought this was very interesting. What's this? Oh, this is the social distancing. So in the Podesta email, social distancing was mentioned, or those words were mentioned 69 times. Looks like Clinton emails just 3 times. Should click on these. Let's click on these to see exactly what they said about social distancing. If they use those exact words, that'd be interesting to find out, right? Let's take a look here. 72 results. Social. Nope, it doesn't look like they use those exact words. Distancing himself. I'll dig deeper into this, you guys. I just wanted to put this information up. I'll see all of you in the morning. Appreciate y'all coming out. Take care and be safe, everybody.